All right. Now, once you've opened your folder and you're inside that folder, set up Django, you're now going to only do one thing. Remember, you already have pip installed, okay? All you need to do is to create a virtual environment. Make sure that you create a virtual environment inside this folder. These are the steps you need to do. Create a virtual environment basically in that project directory. So this is our project directory. This is how you create a virtual environment. You just say virtual. The commands can be different depending on which operating system you're using. But you will try to explore them. So you create virtual environment and say virtual virtual env, then you say v env. So virtual this is basically for virtual environment. Then venv is basically virtual environment. Once you type this small command, you press enter. Now, once you press enter, you realize it has created another folder inside that setup, which is going to be basically what? The virtual environment. Now, if you don't have a virtual environment, it is sometimes affects your setting up of the Django project. So I recommend that you create a virtual environment. Now, that is step number one. Step number two that I need you to do is to activate the virtual environment. So to activate the virtual environment, you're just going to say source, then you type venv so that it will get the source of this file. And then you say bin, which is the directory, activate. Now, once you do activate and press enter, you notice here, the first one didn't have the venv. Now it's having the virtual environment. And please, one thing you should know is that some people can decide to write virtual like venv, others can use any other writing, but the choice is yours, okay? So in that way, you are done creating the virtual environment. Now, the next step that you need to do is to install Django. For you to install Django, you basically need to say pip install Django. Once you say pip install Django, of course, it will install Django within the virtual environment. So all you need to do is to press enter. Once you press enter, it will install the packages and it will tell you successfully install ASGIRI 3.8.1. Django version is 5.0.7. Now, since you already have Django installed, and you could double check to see if you have Django installed. When you click here, you may not see Django here, but it has installed Django inside what? The virtual environment. It installed Django within the virtual environment. Now, the next thing that you need to do after installing Django, you can start up a project. Please note one thing. A project is different from an application. So we are going to start up a project, and this time round, let's start up a project. Now, let's say Django. I can first clear this. Now I can start up a project by say Django. Then I go ahead and put an hyphen and say admin, startup. All these commands that I'm writing, they're on the other website for project for Django project. So you say project, and then you call the application name. Now you can call it mentorship. Now, since we are starting project, I'll call it mentorship project. I'm going to call it mentorship project. No, let me just call it mentorship. Now, when I use the word mentorship, I needed to just guide you. Let me just call it mentorship project. Now, since I've called this mentorship project, it's called mentorship project. Now, a project is quite different. Now, before we set up a project, when you press enter without putting a full stop at the end, all you need to do is space once, put a full stop. The main reason why we are putting the full stop at the end is to make sure that it creates the Django project inside this directory. If you don't put the full stop, it will create a Django project inside a mentorship project directory, which is not what we want. So you will just start Django admin, start project, mentorship project, space, dot, then you create the project. Then you press enter. You press enter. Once you press enter, just come here. You will be able to see that it has created a folder. It has created a project called mentorship project inside our main project directory. So when we check here, we are able to see that inside this project, we have the initialize, the asgi.py settings, URLs, wsgi.py. So these are the things that will be created in the project. Don't worry about it for now. We'll start looking at it one by one. But once you click on it, you can see exactly that this is just a framework that gives you all the required libraries that can help you build the application very fast. Now, we can best do that after creating the project. We can now try to list and see what is within that directory of our main project, which is what? Setup. Now, when we want to list, we are just basically going to say ls. Now it will show you there's a project, a folder called project. And then we also have manage.py, which basically manage the Python file. And then we also, which also help us for running the environment. Then we have the virtual environment. Now, since we have done it up to this point, I can now tell you that if you want to know that Django is installed on your computer, you only go ahead and say what? Python manage, because you're picking this manage.py, then you say run, then you say run server. Now, if you have any server which is running on your computer, you're going to get an error. But for now, I believe I don't have any server running. So I press enter. Now, once you press enter, you can see it here, on July 27, Django version, that one, it is in that project setting, it has started our development server. Now, once you copy this, you copy it, and then you come to a browser. I normally like using this browser, Chromium, for developers. Then I copy that link and press enter. Now it will show you that the install worked successfully. Congratulations. The install worked successfully. Congratulations. This tells you clearly that you have successfully installed Django project. you have successfully installed what? Django project. And that's how you go ahead to install Django project. All right. Can I have any question if you have questions up to this point? Because this is what I want you to go and do. And we are going to move one more step. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
I tried I tried to put the command virtual env and at the beginning, but mine refused it. It brought an error.
Now, don't worry about those people with errors. Which operating system are you using?
I'm using Windows 11.
Okay, okay, don't worry. I'm going to show you. I'll be able to show you all those ones who are using Windows. What we can do. Is that okay? But for now, don't worry. I will have another session where I'm solving people's problems so that at least they are able to what? To get started up to this point. Because this is being recorded and people are going to come back to watch this video. So I don't want it to be long. But this is the first step that you do. That's how you set up Django. Now, let me give you some additional tips. Is that databases can be configured in Django using the settings. So when you come to when you come to this directory and then you come to settings, you can configure databases here. Okay. Yeah, so databases are configured here. But for now, we are using SQLite. We're not using MySQL, but MySQL or Progressed, those are databases which are there. But for now, we are just using it for purposes of building an application for learning purposes. But you can use SQL where you can use PHP to help, because PHP can work very well with setting up databases. Now, for now, this is what we have. Now, I'm going to repeat the same process that I've done, but I'm going to move an extra mile. Is that okay? So to make you understand better, let us try to build an application using Django so that I talk about everything, then I get you started. We're going to build just a basic application, not so complex. And we can actually call that application mentorship. We can call that application mentorship so that it's not very complex. Okay? It's not very complex. That's what I want us to do. So are we okay up to this point? Hello?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. If you're okay up to this point, then better. Now, let's do the other second task that I want you to follow faster so that now I'm going to close everything, and I'm even going to close this one. The reason why I'm closing it, I don't want the server to be running again, okay? Let me just take screenshot. Guys, also to remind you that on Friday, 2nd, that is when we are going to have what? We are going to have the launch. And please, your money will be sent. I've made a budget for 20,000 for that day, but don't worry. Government of Uganda has given us around, let me not say the entire figure. It has given us around 100 million for this particular training. And by the way, you should thank me because I really worked so hard with the AR to make sure that you guys get funding for this entire training. So the first one is UICT, which has given us around 20 million. Don't worry about the money. but it's basically to facilitate training. Okay, and I've already bought for you internet. When I'm traveling to Namibia, I'll leave the internet with what? Janvi. It's already paid. I think I will give it to you on Saturday. And you keep it very well. For those who will come on campus, let them access internet. We will continue learning online until when I come back from Namibia. I'll be back in the country on 19th. But let's proceed. Now, this is what we are going to do. Let us create a directory on the desktop. Let's first create a folder. Okay, since the other time I was able to create a directory locally. This time round, allow me use a command so that you can also follow. Okay. Now I'm just going to open only desktop. Now once I open desktop, I want to show you another way how to create a folder on the desktop. Now, since I have desktop, I have so many folders on the desktop. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another folder using a command in Ubuntu. I will say make directory, and then I'm going to say mentorship. Now, since I've created this, it's called mentorship. I've just created a directory called mentorship. Now, once I press enter, I can now cd into what? Into mentorship. Mentorship. Then I ls. There's nothing. So right now I'm inside that directory, mentorship. Now to make it also easier for you to navigate, you can now come to file, then open folder, desktop. Then when you scroll, you should be able to see a folder mentorship that you created. You open. Okay. Now, so that's how you also navigate to that directory using a command line. It's not difficult. So I can go to terminal. Now, I've created that directory using that approach. Now, the next thing I need to do, since I've already explained to you, you need to create a virtual environment. And of course, already you people are telling me that you are having issues, but those issues, we are going to fix them. What you need to do, you just need to say virtual env for virtual environment, and then say venv. Now I'm going to expand here. Right now, you don't see anything like a virtual environment here. But when I press enter, it creates a virtual environment. And when you check, this is the virtual environment. Of course, that's what I wanted you to do. So once you create the virtual environment, what is the next step? The next step is to activate. Now, to activate it, you're going to see that here it's not yet activated. Once you activate it, it is going to be virtual. So you're going to go ahead and say you're going to say source, and source, you say VE and V, which is getting the source of that virtual environment. This source is here. Then you say bin and say activate. Now, once you do activate, you press enter. Here, it will change to the directory will be activated. So you will be inside the virtual environment. So once you are inside the virtual environment, each time you're going to create a Django application, you need to start up a project. Now, once you have already activated the virtual environment, you can go ahead and install Django. You can say pip install Django. Now, then you press enter because now you're familiar with this project. So now once you install Django, it's installing. It will show you that Django successfully installed Django 5.0.7. Now, since you have Django installed, now I want you to understand something. We are going to create our application. Is that okay? When you check here, now we are going to create an application. Let's create an application inside. And that application is going to be what? It's going to be, you're going to create the application. That application basically is going to be the app that, okay, we want to make sure that since Django is already installed, let us start our project. So we can say Django, I could first clear this and say Django admin start project. And then that project name, we are going to call it, this time let's call it what? Mentorship app. Now, since, remember I told you if you're creating a project, put a dot in front. Okay? Now, once you've created the project and you've called it mentorship app, put a dot at the extreme end and press enter. Now, when you list here, you're going to see you've created, the project is called what? Mentorship app. Now, that is a very good thing. So you could CD basically into the mentorship app to see what is there. Up. Then you just list so that it shows you what is there. So what is inside is basically when you click here, you come inside the mentorship app. Is what we were talking about. This is for initializing the setting, the URLs, the W. Don't worry about it. We are about to start using it right now. Okay? All right. Now, since we have already seen that, now let us start also, let's start a Django application. We've called the main project app, but we need to start different applications. And now the first application that we need to start should be, it's not a project. So this time we are going to say, we are using Python manage.py start accounts so that we create a new app within the project. So to create a new app within the project, we are going to say, you're going to say Python manage.py start app. Then the app is going to be called accounts. The reason why we are calling it accounts, we want to make sure that that app accounts is within the folder, and accounts is where we are going to create the login of a person, like emails, username. That is how you create it. So I'm going to press enter. Now, so Python manage start app accounts. Oh, sorry. I need to CD. That's completely an error because the start app cannot be there. So let me first clear up. All I need is this. Let me copy up to this point. Then CD. Now ls. Now I'm able to see manage.py. So since I'm able to see manage.py, Now I can go ahead and say, I can recall the command I used by using the up arrow. Yeah, so this is the, I recall the command so that I don't type. Then I press enter. Now this time around, when I check inside that folder, I'm going to see accounts. Now accounts, when I check here, so you can see accounts is having initialize, admin, apps, module, test, view. So we are now going to start looking at these frameworks for the accounts one by one. And it's also having what? Migration. Since we created accounts, the next thing which we need to do, we need to configure in our install applications. We need to configure accounts since it is an application. So to configure that, we need to go to settings. So we need to be in this mentorship file. Let me first collapse that pan. Come, because this is how it will be. We just expand here, we come to settings. Then in the settings here, we need to look for install apps because we have created another app called accounts. Then under install apps, we need to go at the extreme end here and then add another app that we just created. And that app is called what? Accounts. Now we can press Ctrl S. Now, since we already added the app there, what basically this does, it will help us to include our new application, which is accounts, into the authentication settings. So that's the main reason why we did that. Now, I want you also to know one thing, that since we are going to be dealing with logging in and logging out, it is better we try to set the site IDs so that it can redirect the URLs to that page for login and logging out. So how best can we do that? Now we could create a comment here so that we take care of that. Don't worry, once you keep doing this, you will get used. First, we need to set the site IDs. Now, once you set the site ID, you're going to say set site ID equals to 1. Remember, I've also installed tab 9. Since I have tab 9 here, that means I'm going to write my codes a little bit faster. Now, so basically this ID will take care of the site IDs. Then another thing that we need to do, this is a comment, the hash that is commenting, and I'm going to say authentication settings. Now, in the authentication setting, I want to take care of logging in. And of course, this is the authentication settings that I need. Especially, I don't need for password validation for now. All I need right now is, I don't even need this authentication of user module. All I need is, I need the authentication. Okay. I need the authentication for login directory, which I'll use the forward modular so that it will take the forward slashes for that module. Then for this particular one, I'll just take it as what? Login. Now, I'm done setting up the authentication setting. Now, I think I'm not bad for now. We will come back if there's anything that we need, okay? So for now, I say setting is done. Now, let me go inside accounts in the module and create a module to store user details. So I'm going to go back here, then collapse this and come to accounts. Then I need to come to module. Now, this is where you create your module. Create your module here. So now here, what I'm interested in, because I want to deal with login details of a person, especially the mentor profile and then the mentee's profile. I just want to, I want to create a class where I can capture those details. So you need to create modules in order to store user details. Basically, we need to create modules for storing user details. In order for us to create modules to store user details, all what we need to do, we will say from Django DB, from a Django database import modules, that's okay. But we also need to say from Django contribute dot authenticate. Yeah, so this one will take care of this. That's why I said Django is a framework that uses library. So this library will take care of the user authentications. Authentication is basically validating a user. Now, let me go now and start creating modules. So this is the part where you need to understand that being a back-end developer and a front-end developer, that actually completely different things. Right now, we are doing what a back-end developer does. For front-end, I'm about to come. Front-end is normally HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, or Bootstrap. But for now, I'm going to focus mainly, I'm still in the back-end. And of course, I'm using Python. And this is what makes you a programmer. Now, this is the part which gets a little bit challenging, because I've not yet taught you how to deal with classes. I didn't teach you classes, but I've just started building the application straight away. But don't worry, you're going to be learning them one by one. Now, as I explained, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create modules here. So we'll create a class, and that class is going to be what? The class will take the method. At least you guys have done some HTML and CSS. You've done some bit of structuring, and you've done some bit of what? Styling of web pages. You've not yet done programming. Right now is the actual programming. So this is going to be profile. Now, so what this class, I've created a class for what? For mentor's profile. And the mentor's profile, which will take in the modules. And now what this class will do, I'm going to try to use to capture user details. So all what I need is I need user module one field cascade on delete cascade. All right, don't worry about this for now. You keep learning, but this will take care of the user. So basically what I did, I created a variable. This variable will have one-to-one field user. That means it's only going to accept one user in that field. Now, I'm also going to do the same here. I'm going to create bio. Let me just deal with what I have. I've created another variable for bio. So the bio, which will take in the module, but not the foreign key. This time around, the logic which I want, I need it to take a text field, and it should be blank, so that you can input. Then I also need to look at expertise area of the mentor. These are the expertise area. So I need to, okay, let me try to modify something here. So it will take in modules. The module will take care of the method, the character. Char is basically the character field, which will take the maximum word length of, like, you don't want to have too many, you want to restrict users from unnecessary modification. So it's going to take about 100 characters. And then you could say blank to true. Then even their profile, their LinkedIn. LinkedIn. URL. So that this basically takes your LinkedIn URL to be a URL method. URL field, then you could take also the maximum length of the characters to be 200, and then you can call it blank. So that it's empty to true. Then we can have the last one. We could also take the GitHub URL. That is if we need. But for now, we don't need it. But we can also try to improve it later if we need. So we can say, can maybe talk about available for mentoring. So this could be Boolean. So we're using Boolean basically. If you're available, true. If you're available, Boolean basically will take in a logical value, true or false. If you are available for mentoring, are you available? Yes or no? So those are the kind of things. And this is where the logic is being created. Now, so we can define a method that will return the username. So which is going to be in form of a string. Now this class here, we are going to repeat the very thing we have done here. We are also going to repeat it for what? We are going to repeat it for we're going to repeat it for the mentee. So this is for mentor. So we are going to create another class for mentee. Mentee, and that is you. So class mentee, method is going to be mentee profile. And now the mentee profile will take the user cascade, that's okay. Bio of the, that's fine. We could also take interest. Like your interest. This is just kind of a repetition of what we have done. Blank to true. Then we could also look at LinkedIn. Which can use a foreign key. Maximum length will be 100. Let's use the maximum length of 200 for the LinkedIn. Okay. Okay. So then the last one, we could create a variable for looking mentor. Okay. So we could set it to what? Default. False. That's not the right spelling. The spelling is not like that. It's false. I think we kind of messed up here. Here, what we need to take the URL field. URL field. This should be the same as this. Take the URL field, character field. Then this one should take the logic, which is the Boolean. The Boolean field, which is the same as that. Okay, so that we don't get into errors. Okay. So if you have any error, you will see the warning here, and you'll see here. What is the error here? It's in line what? Line 20. When you come to line 20, in column 60. So this column is 60. You've put double bracket. Once you remove, no problem in the workspace. And that's how a good programmer will what? Will continue debugging. So yeah, could do return and then, yeah, so this is perfect. So we need to create a database now so that we can migrate some of these informations in the modules into the database. So how do we do that? So for us to create a database, I need to first list and check I have the manage.py. So now I can go ahead and say I'm creating a database. So I'm going to say Python using my SQLite. So I'm going to say Python manage.py make migrations. Now, once I press enter, of course it is migrating. It has actually created migrations for the module, mentee profile and mentor profile. Now what I can do the actual migration. I can say Python manage.py then migrate. So basically it will migrate those information into what? Into the SQL database. So when we check here, we are able to see that we have an SQL database now. Because this is the SQL database now, it has created the modules which will store the user profiles. So far so good. And that's what you do with creating migration. So we're going to finish up with the backend logic. Then we now start right away with what? With the front end logic. So let us, we are almost there. We are about to finish. So let us first set up the forms that will take care of, you know what a form is, you did some HTML. So the form basically we're creating the logic where the form can define the modes of registration, like username, email, password. Yeah, those are the things we need to do in the form. So in order to do that, we need to go to accounts. Once this arrow points down means you are in that directory. So since we don't have any, we have not defined forms for registration, we can create a new file here which does that, where we can say forms.py, and then inside the forms.py, the form is in that same directory. Now we can go ahead and say from Django import forms. Then you can also say from Django. Let me first. Okay, that's okay, but I also did something here. I need from Django. I'm just importing this. These are libraries. Country .off. Exactly. I needed the module that imports the user. Then for profile also from Django. Yeah, that take care of the profile. Now, so we can now create user registration form and login. So this, we are basically doing the logic. So this is the logic which I needed. Okay. Create user registration form. But now once you have this, for me, we'll use user registration form. Okay. But me, I want to call the method called what? Sign up. Sign up form. So user creation form, that's okay, but it's just a sign up form. All right, so I'll take in the email fields. I need to define what is within the email field. I need the maximum length of the email. Maximum length to be 254. And I also need the help text. Now this is where the logic comes in. The help text is something like this. Required inform of. Okay, I think we can say enter a valid email address. Not so? Yeah, so this makes sense. All right. Now for the next part that we have done, I hope we won't run into errors. Now there's a very big difference here. When you use this square bracket, this is a list. When you use this round bracket, this kind of like a tuple. So okay, let's use a list. No problem. It doesn't affect. So you need to go and learn those also data types that we have. Now, since we are done with the creation of the sign up form, Now the sign up form also needs to do the mentor profile, and then so for now, guys, let me use a tuple so that I know there's no problem. You could always try this later. Tab 9 is suggesting a tuple, but I want to use something I'm familiar with. Let me use a tuple. So now let me create a class for mentor form profile. Okay. Now here I'll be doing the module for the mentor profile that will take in the bio expertise area and whether available for mentorship from what we created in the modules. Okay. That's why programming becomes very fast in these eras of AI, because you're able to use tab 9 and save yourself a bunch of time. Now let's also create for class. This time round is going to be for mentee. Mentee profile form. And now we'll also take the class for meta. Yeah, looking for mentor. So basically what we have done, we have created the user registration module. So far, no errors, so we are good to go. Now, we are almost getting ready. Let us create the views. The views is the one which is kind of long because you need to write all this logic for the view. Guys, it takes some time to get done with this, but follow up when I put the recording online. So now for the views, I'm going to go to accounts. The views are already here. Now, guys, this is actually what you need to know. The views will create the CRUD. CRUD is basically delete, update, where you can do your profile listing. So we are going to create views for the registrations, for login, profile, updates, and listing of mentors and mentees. Now, the only thing that you need to add a little bit here, we are going to add the views here. So I need to explain this. Now, so we basically create views for registration, login, profile, and listing mentors and mentees. So in order to create that, but let's first finish up here. We need to do a redirect and get. So you need, in case you get that error, you need to have it in the redirect. So let's just import. These are just, please get it for me. These are just libraries that you need to create your registration logins. So I need to put all the libraries there for logging out, logging in, authenticating. So you're going to say from Django dot contribute forms. Now here is where you're going to say import authenticate. I'm not going to call it authentication form. I'm just going to call it authenticate. You're going to get authenticate. You're going to get login. And you're going to get log out. Now, most of you have used systems. So in most cases, you are able to, you need to, when someone is logging in and when someone is, so you need a library that takes care of that. Then you're going to also get, do we need for decorators? Yes. Login, import login required. Okay, for decorators, that is okay. We also need from, okay, we also need that. I'm using tab 9. So from, I need to write, let me just write this. Django dot, I need for authentication form. Contribute. In fact, I could copy. I want to type this up this point. Just paste it there. I need the dot here. Okay. So what we're doing in the logic here is I need the one for authentication form. Yes, I need this. So I have the authentication form, I have the login required. I have the mentors. Okay, I can add one more from Django forms. Yeah, import, sign up, a mentor profile form. Yeah, I also needed that. Then for messages, could have the messages separated too. From Django, this time now not contributing. Import, not for settings, but I need the one for messages. Okay. All right. Hopefully I've picked all the modules that are there. If they're not there, we can just double check one more time. I needed this module, this library. I needed this for login, log out, authentication form, messages. Okay, that's all I needed. Now I can now define a function. So when I use def, it's basically to define a function. So I'm going to define a function, and the function is going to be sign up. Since Python makes it easier, I would just say sign up views so that you know that we are signing up for views. Now this is where you now need to write the logic. And this is the let me just press enter, tab. Now this logic here, the advantage when you're writing code and you have tab 9 helps save you because but here is that if request method, this is for post, like you're posting something in the chat. And then at the same time for sign up form. So it should be able to save, clean up the username data, and then it should show you success request. And then redirects you to what? To the login. Okay? So you could decide where it should redirect you. So for me, I can say, let it redirect me to what? To profile. Okay. So health sign up form, sign up .html. Yeah. So it's going to render this request. Basically, it's going to render means it's going to request for this HTML file once it has what? It has posted. So now let's also create another logic. You're going to see how this works in real life. Don't worry about this. We will redo it again, then you will understand it much better. Now, because the code is longer, if I'm to write all of it, we are going to spend a lot of time. Let me now write for logging out. I define a function that was called sign up. Okay, I can have a login view. Login view request. Okay, perfect. Now, so we have the one for login. Then we can also define a function for logout. Log out. Yeah, so it will just do the log out. Now you see I've saved myself typing a lot. That's why now programming is easier in this era. So you can have the login required for the login URL. Okay. Now since we have defined the profile view, what you could continue and say, hopefully it doesn't mess me up, because I hate using some of this code. Sometimes they can mess you up. I hate using this logic which are not mine. Let me write my own logic. Sometimes you use this logic, then you start jumping into big errors. So now, login required. Okay. Okay. URL login. I want to be very sure of, let me just first remove, this. Login required. Then define a profile that does the view, then could do user. Guys, first follow along with me. I'll explain. I'm just trying to write the logic myself here. If let's request dot user mentor profile. Then user request mentor profile, that's okay. Then we could use elif. Request user mentor profile. I know this thing is going to understand my logic, so it's going to be kind of accurate when I finish writing for the first one. And it's going to be user request. Does it request? That's to request. That's to request for the mentor profile. Okay. We didn't call it that, so we call it mentee. Just as mentee profile. Okay, just be patient. We're about to finish. Just that the logic here needs to be a workable logic. Okay. Let's just use the single here. All right. So if request method is post, then okay, hope now this has understood what I need. Okay, profile successfully. Okay, whose profile is successfully updated. Mentor profile. So we could just put a message and say mentor profile. It's no big deal. Mentor profile updated successfully. All right, so that's super fine. Now also if we need to do for the mentee, otherwise the elf form request dot user mentee the profile. Okay. So it's going to be form mentee profile form. would just say request dot post. Okay, then if form is valid, mentee profile, yeah, exactly, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, so but we don't have a return, so we need to create a return profile, and then we need to create a return here also for what, for profile. Now now we could do else if request dot user can be mentor profile then you could create a form for the instance of a mentor profile. Then elf mentor profile. Okay. Then return request profile dot html. Okay, hopefully you've done it so well with the logic. These are the things you will spend a lot of time doing it as you as a programmer. Now because now people are logging in, people are logging out, but please, you better follow this because once we redo it, it's going to be easier. Now let's do the login. Login. Login required. So basically it's going to be list of mentors. Then login also required. Define another one. And login required, list of mentees. Okay. All right. Now let's save it. There are no errors. If there are errors, we would know. Now the next thing that we need to do is to define the URLs. So we need to come to mentorship and we need to be into this mentorship and then come to URLs. So this is where we need to define the URLs. So for us to configure the URLs, we just need to come here and say include, and also go ahead and say the path, which is going to be accounts, include accounts URLs. think. Okay. So no problem for that. Okay. Now, so once we create this for the URLs, I don't even need to explain this because this is straightforward. Now we need also to go to, we need to create a URL for accounts. So for now, we are going to create a new file. Since URL is not there, we'll call it urls.py, which basically will help us to define URL patterns for accounts, which is the uniform resource locator for the accounts. So now that one we are going to say from Django.urls import path, and then from .form import views. Then we would have URL patterns for view sign up, view login, okay? Sign up, login, log out. Then you can also have path for profile and mentors list. So here we decided to use a dictionary. Okay. So this take care of that. Now, so we are done with the logic. Now, for any backend developer, this is what you're going to go through. The backend developers, setting up all this is something that you need to spend a lot of time. If you can practice like 3 hours every day, you're going to be very good. Now let's go to the front end development. So for front end, now we are now going to create a folder inside a directory called accounts. So we just need to be inside accounts. I told you always, if you need to create a folder, just click on it so that this arrow is pointing down. Then you click on new folder. And that folder now you're going to call it what? Templates. Templates. Now, once you create this folder called template, now you need to go inside this folder and create the HTML files. Now, the HTML files that you need to create a file, HTML file for sign up dot HTML. Now, this one is going to be easier for you. You also need to create another HTML file for login .html. You need to create another HTML file for profile .html. You need to create another one for mentor list .html. Then you need to create another one for mentee list .html. Then you're going to do the configuration later. But so once you create this, you need to write some bit of a simple script for signing up. So for signing up, basically you could start with sign up. For sign up, you could just say, you know how they normally comment in HTML. Need to do this, and then you also need to do this, okay? And say That's how you comment in HTML. And say sign up. Sign up. You even say by your name. Okay. All right. So could use one. That's okay. Now, so for HTML, you could just basically remember what we did in class. You press that and press enter. Then it generates all these HTMLs for you. All you need to do here is to look for the part of title and call that title, sign up. And of course, yeah, when you come to the body, you can create an H2. Could even press tab. Oh. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's make it basic. So we can just say H2 sign up. Then the method is going to be form method. Then you just need to do something very small. Let me just press, I don't need this. Okay. All you could do is use the curly bracket and say form. Could just say use a modular with a CSRF token modular. Once we have this, then we could call it form as type. Okay. Then you can just have a button for submit. Okay. So this should be able to give us some bit of sign up form. Let's also do for profile. Not a lot, but profile. I don't want to write a lot. Okay, let's do login. So login will also be the same. All I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back to the sign up as a programmer, control copy, come to login and paste the entire code here because I need to save. Then here I just say, since I'm now using login, I'll just call it login, not sign up. Title will be login. You need to learn how to reuse your codes. have a button here which you can call it what? Login. So that you save yourself also a bunch of time. Call this one what? Login. Form, it's okay. Method which is post, no problem. Okay, CSS token. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we can also do the same for post, for profile.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
You need to change also where there is form action, where they sign up. Oh, it's like it remains like that.
Oh, it's supposed to be changed to sign up. Not the sign up is supposed to be what?
The login, just the login.
Login. Yeah. Okay. Let's go and do another one for profile. So profile also, you're going to do the same. You're going to change here and make the title what? Profile. And then log in here also profile. Then this is going to be now for profile is a little bit different. The button is going to be update profile. And then Jesus. Yeah, I made a kind of a small. I made a kind of a small mistake, but I'm going to fix it. All these things are supposed to be within the form. Button type, save changes. Then I can have another one for with an anchor for logging out. Okay. Okay, this is okay. I just need to fix the one for the URLs. It's supposed to be everything is supposed to be what? Okay. I believe we are good to go. What we are remaining with is mentalist. So let's go to the mentalist. For mentalist, still the same thing. I'm going to paste. Oops. Let me pick from the profile. Just edit. This is just the UI. So we'll have title, call it what? Mentors. Mentors. No, can say mentors available for mentoring. Okay. So all you need to do, could try to change this a bit. Mentors available for mentoring, then you can use an ordered list. Okay. Here I use for loop for mentor in mentors. Mentors in mentors. All you could do here is basically for mentors and mentors, you can have mentor user dot username then minus minus mentor dot x parties area. Yeah, that should be able to work for us. So you need to end the for loop. Okay. For mentees also the same thing. Could use this code. You will just have to change these other titles. Oh, so I just have to modify this. This is mentee. So for mentee, here I'll call it mentees. Then mentees are mentees. Looking for mentors. Mentees looking for mentors. Okay. So for mentee mentors, for mentee in mentees, for mentee in mentees, be mentee, then put mentee, then this to be what? Interest. Okay. So for mentee in mentee is just going to be mentee. We need this other funny things. I just need mentee dot interest. That's all I need. Then end the form. Okay. We are now left with one last configuration, then we are done to test the application. So the last configuration is going to be on, you need to go to our settings. And our setting is within the what? The mentorship. Then we need to just add some file down. I know we don't have that file. If you have it, we'll just try to search for it. It's here. You need to have a static URL, okay, which takes care of that. Static URL. Then we also need to have the media. I hope we don't have. I just need to just first check if we have it. Media. So since we don't have it, and go to static. Underscore URL. Then I just have to add media, then media root, media, join, or is path join, the base, media. Now the problem we have here is that it's not defined. We need to go and import from OS. Just need to do. You don't need. Just need to say import OS. Okay, so that error would be gone. Then we need to summarize it with the URLs for the development. So we need to update the URLs. So for the URLs, just need to update these URLs. The admin bar. Just need to update these URLs. Okay. Update these URLs so that we can have from Django config import settings. Then from Django config URLs dot URL dot statics, import statics. Then so the URL patterns just need to update is, can it accept up two URLs? URLs button. Setting. Media URL document. Root. We go to setting dot media root. Okay. What the problem is? Okay. Okay, hopefully we have done something better. Let's try to collect the statics and then we run. So what you're going to do, we'll say Python, first check if you have Python manage.py there. So we can say Python manage.py collect statics. Yes. So it has collected the statics. Then you can say Python manage.py run server. It's telling me to go to telling me to go to what? Line 2, mentor accounts. Then I go to views. Then I go to line 2. Still need to go to line 2. Error, cannot import login from Django. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, let me stop the recording. I fix this error. Then next time when we meet, I should be able to, I will explain to you all this when we can have it running on the development server. Cannot import the name login from Django contribute. Import login. And in the templates, wait a minute. Let's just check it manually here. You may realize our template is not even what? Control H. Our template is not in that directory. Okay, login.html. Okay. Okay. Let's first stop this recording so that it's not too long.